I was having dinner with my daughter Lily and her brand new husband Nathan at Portland's finest restaurant celebrating their honeymoon when he stepped outside for a business call. An elderly woman approached our table with terror in her eyes. She pressed a folded piece of paper into my hand and whispered urgently, "Get your daughter out of here now." Something in her voice told me I had to listen. That decision saved both our lives. If you're watching this story, please subscribe to the channel, like button, and drop a comment below telling me where you're watching from and whether you think I made the right choice, trusting that elderly woman's warning. My name is Richard Harlan, and I've spent 30 years building homes for Seattle families. I thought I understood stability. I was wrong about what really mattered. I had just given away my only child 2 weeks earlier. Walked her down an aisle of white peonies while she held my arm so tightly, I could feel her shaking with joy. Lily is 34 now, a brilliant senior product designer at one of the big tech companies downtown, and after years of heartbreak following her mother's death from cancer, she had finally found someone who made her laugh again. Nathan Alexander Grant, 38. Private wealth advisor, charming, quick with a story, always dressed like he had just stepped off a yacht. He had swept into her life like a Pacific storm, handsome and unstoppable. Engagement after 4 months. Wedding 6 weeks later. I told myself the speed was just modern love. I told myself a lot of things. We were halfway through the main course. Wild king salmon for Lily. Ribeye for me. When Nathan's phone buzzed on the white tablecloth, his perfect smile flickered for half a second. "Sorry. Darling. Important client. 2 minutes. Tops." He kissed the top of Lily's head, the way he always did, possessive and gentle at the same time, and walked toward the wall of windows that looked out over the lake. That was when the old woman stood up. I had noticed her earlier, sitting alone at the next table, silver hair pulled into a severe bun, hands folded too tightly around a water glass she never drank from. She had been staring at us for almost an hour, not the casual glance of someone recognizing a familiar face. This was the stare of someone memorizing details. Now her face was the color of ash. She moved faster than any woman her age had any right to move, cane forgotten, and reached our table in 4 urgent strides. Before I could stand, she pressed a folded scrap of paper into my palm so hard her nails dug into my skin. "Get your daughter out of here. Right now," she whispered, voice trembling like a wire about to snap. "You don't know who she really married. Please, before it's too late." Her eyes were wide, pupils blown with pure terror. Then she was gone, disappearing through the front doors into the valet circle. Lily frowned, confused and a little embarrassed. "Dad, what was that about?" I stared at the paper in my hand, then at my daughter's trusting face, then toward the windows where Nathan stood with his back to us, one hand pressed to his ear, the other gesturing sharply. Every rational part of my brain screamed that this was nonsense. Some poor woman in the middle of a psychotic break. But 30 years of working construction sites, 30 years of knowing that when your gut screams danger, you listen or you don't come home, took over. "Lily, we're leaving. Right now." "What, Dad? We haven't even—" "Trust me, sweetheart." She saw something in my face she had never seen before. She nodded once. I threw $500 on the table, more than enough, grabbed her hand, and scanned the room. Red fire alarm pull station by the restrooms. Perfect. Sometimes the only way out is the loud way. I yanked it hard. The shriek was instant and deafening. Red strobes flashed, sprinklers hissed to life in some sections, trays crashed. Hundreds of Seattle's richest and most beautifully dressed people surged toward the exits in perfect, expensive chaos. I pulled Lily through the crowd, past overturned chairs and spilled champagne, past a maitre d' shouting instructions no one was listening to, and out the side emergency exit into the cool, damp night. Fire trucks were already screaming up Queen Anne Hill, lights painting the clouds red and blue. Nathan was outside now, pushing through the mob, calling Lily's name, face twisted with something that wasn't just worry. But we were already in my truck and gone, tires squealing down the hillside toward home. We made it back to my house on Capitol Hill in 12 minutes, a drive that usually takes 30. Lily sat on the living room couch, still wearing her emerald silk dress, shoes kicked off, watching me pace like a man waiting for a jury verdict. Her phone had buzzed itself nearly dead on the coffee table. Nathan, Nathan, Nathan. On the 14th call, she reached for it. I caught her wrist gently but firmly. Let me. I answered. Richard. Thank God. Where's Lily? I couldn't find you after the alarm. She's with me. Nathan. The whole thing overwhelmed her. You know how sensitive she gets in crowds sometimes. A pause that stretched too long. Is she all right? Put her on. Please. She's already asleep. Took something to calm her nerves. We'll call you tomorrow. Another pause. Colder this time. Take good care of her. Richard. She means the world to me. The line went dead. Lily stared at me, eyes wide and frightened. Dad, you're scaring me. I'm terrified. Lily. I unfolded the scrap of paper the woman had given me, a shaky address in Rainier Valley, and one line beneath it. Check her accounts. Check everything. They move fast once the ring is on her finger. We opened her laptop right there on the coffee table. She logged into her primary checking account first. Her breath caught like someone had punched her. A pending transfer for $95,000 was scheduled to leave at 9:00 a.m. tomorrow. Destination. An account in the Caymans she had never seen before. She clicked deeper. Her high-yield savings had new withdrawal restrictions she had never authorized. Her brokerage account now listed Nathan Alexander Grant as sole beneficiary on death. Her 401k beneficiary had been changed 3 days after the wedding. All changes made with her digital signature. Copies of forms she vaguely remembered signing in a happy whirlwind of champagne and thank you notes. I signed whatever he put in front of me, she whispered, voice breaking. He kept saying it was just routine marriage stuff, combining finances, updating insurance. I trusted him. Dad. I felt the floor tilt under me. This wasn't random identity theft. This was surgical, professional, planned down to the minute. Pack a small bag, I told her. One change of clothes, no phone chargers he can track. We're going to that address tonight. The little bungalow on South Henderson Street looked like every light in the house was afraid of the dark. Porch light, kitchen light, every lamp glowing behind curtains. The woman opened the door before we knocked, as if she had been watching the street for hours. You came, she said, voice trembling with relief. Good. Get inside, quickly, before someone sees your truck. Inside smelled of strong coffee and grief. The living room was a shrine. Dozens upon dozens of photographs covered every surface, all of the same young woman at every age. Baby pictures, kindergarten graduation, prom, college graduation, laughing on a beach somewhere tropical, blowing out 33 candles on a chocolate cake. That smile, God, that smile was Lily's smile. That was my daughter. Emily, the woman said, hands wrapped around a coffee mug that shook too hard to drink from. She would have turned 36 next month. Lily stepped closer to the photos. tears already starting. She's beautiful. What happened to her? She married Nathan Grant 3 years ago last April. 5 months later, she was dead. Evelyn Carter. That was the name she finally gave us. Set the mug down and opened a large plastic bin on the coffee table. Manila folders spilled out like a deck of grim playing cards. Supposed a hiking accident on the Pacific Crest Trail near Snoqualmie Pass. Nathan was the only one who made it down alive. Hypothermic, devastated widower who tried everything to save her. Sole heir to her condo in Belltown, her investment accounts, 2 life insurance policies, her grandmother's house in West Seattle, everything. She spread the folders in front of us. 9 women in total. 9 thick folders. All married Nathan Alexander Grant in the last 7 years. All dead within 8 months of the wedding. All accidents carefully staged in different counties, different seasons, different methods so no pattern would ever trigger an insurance investigation. Jessica Moore, 31 car went off the cliff on Highway 101 Olympic Peninsula, March 2018. Rachel Kim, 29 house fire in Tacoma, electrical fault, December 2018. Megan Walsh, 35 overdose on fentanyl-laced pills, ruled accidental, June 2019. Sarah Donovan, 30 drowning, Lake Washington boating accident, September 2020. Emily Carter, 33, hiking fall, Snoqualmie Pass, August 2021. Hannah Patel, 32, carbon monoxide poisoning, cabin heater malfunction, February 2022. Olivia Chen, 34, hit and run while cycling, Whidbey Island, July 2022. Brooke Nguyen, 31, allergic reaction, mislabeled medication, November 2023. Isabella Ruiz, 33, home invasion gone wrong, Capitol Hill, March 2024. 9 deaths. Over $6 million transferred quietly into accounts controlled by Nathan and his mother. Patricia Grant, Assistant Director of King County Property Records for the last 22 years. Access to every official stamp, every notary database, every blank form in the county. She could make anything look legal, and she had. Evelyn had been tracking them since the day they buried Emily. Notebooks full of dates, addresses, bank routing numbers, obituaries, coroner reports. She had tried to warn the last 3 women, left anonymous letters, called from burner phones, showed up at coffee shops with folders of evidence. Every time she was dismissed as a deranged, grieving mother spreading conspiracy theories. Police reports filed and forgotten. Restraining orders threatened. "You're the first father who listened," she told me, eyes shining with tears and something fiercer. The first one who didn't laugh me out of the room. We stayed until the sky over the Olympics turned the color of watered-down coffee. Then we made the hardest plan I have ever made in my life. Lily had to go back to Nathan the next morning and pretend everything was fine. Pretend she was still the trusting new wife excited about their future. While I found ironclad proof inside Patricia Grant's office at the King County Administration Building. If Lily disappeared now, they would know we were onto them. They would vanish. New names, new city, new hunting ground. We needed evidence that could not be explained away. Evidence that would survive lawyers and PR firms and family influence. Watching my daughter put on fresh makeup the next morning, practice a loving smile in the hallway mirror, and walk out my front door to face a man who had already chosen how she would die was worse than watching them lower her mother's casket. While Lily played the role of her life, I spent the day becoming intimately familiar with the King County Administration Building in downtown Seattle. I walked the public areas 3 times, ate lunch in the courtyard, timed the security guards, learned that the cleaning crews started at 10:00 p.m., and that the parking garage maintenance door never quite latched because the strike plate was worn. Old builders' eyes noticed things like that. Texts from Lily came in all day. each one a knife in my heart. 10:14 a.m. Home now. Acting normal. He keeps asking if I'm feeling better after last night. 1:27 p.m. Took me to lunch at the Metropolitan Grill. He's watching me like he's waiting for something to crack. 4:51 p.m. He just brought out a thick folder of post-honeymoon insurance updates for me to sign tonight. Says it will protect our future. Dad. He's moving faster than we thought. 7:33 p.m. Dinner on the table, candles, wine. He's being so sweet it makes my skin crawl. 10:02 p.m. He's asleep. I photographed every page of the new forms. Sending now. They add him to my trust and increase life insurance to $2 million. By 11:30 p.m. The building was nearly empty. I slipped through the maintenance door, took the stairs to the 4th floor, picked the lock on Patricia Grant's office with a tension wrench and a rake pick I bought that afternoon at a hardware store in Ballard. Old habits from securing job sites in the 90s die hard. The office smelled of lemon polish and fear. File cabinets lined one wall, each drawer labeled in perfect bureaucratic handwriting. A computer hummed quietly on the desk. I started with the cabinets, folders organized by year, then by victim name. Inside each marriage certificates, wills, quitclaim deeds, life insurance beneficiary forms, death certificates, property transfers, even coroner photos in some cases, all perfectly legal on the surface, all with Patricia's subtle fingerprints, forged notary seals, backdated filings. Then I found the active file, Harlan, Lily Ann, net worth, $920,000, method, TBD, status, active, projected completion, October 2025. My hands shook so hard I almost dropped the folder. I was photographing pages with my phone when the office door opened behind me. Nathan stood there with a night security guard named Mike, both silhouetted by the hallway light. Motion sensors. Richard, Nathan said, voice as calm as a frozen lake, looking for my wife and my meddling father-in-law. Thought they might be doing something foolish tonight. I stepped between him and the door, heart hammering so hard I could barely hear my own voice. Your killing days end tonight. He smiled the same charming smile from the wedding toast. Actually, they end with both of you disappearing quietly. Mike thinks you're burglars, unless Lily comes home right now and we all forget this ever happened. Lily stepped out from the hallway shadows. She had followed me after all. Phone in hand, cloud backup already running for the last 20 minutes. Nathan, she said, and her voice was stronger than I had ever heard it. I know about Jessica, Rachel, Megan, Sarah, Emily, Hannah, Olivia, Brooke, Isabella, and I just uploaded every file in this cabinet to 3 different cloud services. It's over. His mask shattered. He lunged. I met him halfway. 30 years of swinging a framing hammer kept me strong. Pure father rage made me faster. We crashed into filing cabinets, papers exploding like confetti. Mike reached for his radio. Lily yanked the fire alarm again. Alarms screamed. Sprinklers burst overhead, soaking everything. We ran. 4 flights down wet concrete stairs, shoes slipping. My hand locked around Lily's wrist. Out into the parking garage. Into my truck. Tires squealed as we shot up the exit ramp. In the rearview mirror, Nathan stood under the sodium lights. Phone to his ear. Face twisted with animal fury. But running wasn't enough anymore. Hiding wasn't enough. We needed the entire city to see the truth before they could disappear us. At 3:17 a.m., we sat in my truck outside a 24-hour diner on Airport Way South. rain starting to fall in fat drops against the windshield. I started a Facebook Live, mirrored it to Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, everywhere I could think of. Angled the phone on the dashboard so both our faces filled the frame. Soaked, exhausted, alive. People of Seattle, my name is Richard Harlan. What you are about to witness is the exposure of a husband and mother murder ring that has killed 9 women and stolen more than $6 million using King County offices as cover. If anything happens to my daughter Lily or to me tonight, you are our witnesses. Share this stream. Call 911. Call the FBI. Call every news station in the Pacific Northwest. Do not let them bury this story. Viewer count climbed like a rocket. 47, 312, 1-800-6000, 12000, 22000. We drove straight back to the county building. Patricia Grant's office lights still burned on the 4th floor. She was shredding evidence as fast as the machine would take it. We took the elevator this time. No more hiding, no more sneaking. 30,000 people watching live as we walked down the hallway. Comments scrolling so fast they were just a blur of outrage and emergency calls. I knocked once. Patricia Grant. The city of Seattle is watching. The door opened slowly. Patricia looked like a woman who had aged 20 years in 20 minutes. Her perfect bun had come undone. Gray hair hanging in strands around a face the color of old paper. Her desk was buried in shredded documents. The shredder still whining. I held the phone steady. Say hello to 41,000 live viewers. Patricia. We laid out the photographs, the spreadsheets, the forged deeds, naming every single victim while the comments turned into a roar. People recognizing names. People who had gone to school with the dead women. People calling 911 faster than the operators could answer. Then the real twist walked in. Evelyn Carter, the grieving mother who had started everything, stepped into the office flanked by 5 men in dark suits, jackets bulging in all the wrong places. But the trembling old woman was gone. In her place stood someone who radiated absolute, ice-cold power. "Well done, Richard," she said, voice like chilled steel. "You just eliminated my smallest competitor for me." Turns out Evelyn Carter had never existed. The woman smiling coldly at the camera was Margaret Vaughn, a legend in certain very dark circles. Someone who had been running far more sophisticated rackets in the Pacific Northwest for 2 decades. She had used us, used Lily as bait, used the restaurant warning, the address, the break-in, everything, to destroy Patricia Grant's amateur operation and take her client list for herself. 52,000 witnesses. She laughed, glancing at the phone. Perfect advertising for the new management. I kept the phone rock steady. Except those 52,000 people just heard you confess to running organized crime across 3 states, and they're calling the FBI right now. Sirens rose like a tidal wave outside. Dozens of units. SWAT vans. News helicopters circling overhead. Searchlights cutting through the rain. The viewers had done their job. Margaret's men went for their guns. Patricia screamed and dove behind the desk. Gunfire lasted 14 seconds. 14 eternal seconds of chaos and muzzle flashes. Tactical teams flooded the room from both stairwells. Seattle police, drop your weapons. Handcuffs snapped on Margaret Vaughn, on Patricia Grant, on every one of her men. Live on 58,000 phones. Nathan was arrested 3 hours later at their lake house on Mercer Island, still trying to board a seaplane to British Columbia. Pilot already in cuffs for good measure. Lily and I walked out into the gray Seattle dawn, soaked to the bone, exhausted, alive. The live stream ended at 71,000 concurrent viewers and more than 8 million shares in the first 24 hours. By noon, it was national news. By nightfall, it was international. Every victim finally had her name back. Every future target was safe. The houses, the money, the insurance policies. Everything was seized and would eventually go to the families who had buried daughters and sisters, thinking they had simply been unlucky. Their mothers called us sobbing, thanking us, saying their daughters could rest. Lily is safe. She is stronger than she has ever been. And I learned the most important lesson a father can learn when a stranger risks everything to warn you your child is in danger. Listen, when something feels wrong, no matter how perfect the mask, listen. And when evil itself underestimates the love of a father and daughter, sometimes that love live streams the reckoning for the whole world to see. I learned that the strongest hammer a father can ever swing isn't made of steel. It's made of love, courage, and 71,000 strangers who looked evil in the face on a tiny phone screen and decided, together, that enough was enough. Love doesn't just conquer all. Sometimes, when the whole world is watching, it live streams the victory and brings the devils to their knees. If this story found its way to you, share it. Talk to your children. Trust that feeling in your gut when something feels wrong. Ask the hard questions, no matter how awkward, no matter how much you want to believe the fairy tale. Because the next folded scrap of paper pressed into a trembling hand might be meant for you, and the next life saved might be the one you love more than your own. If you like this story, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your impressions of this story in the comments.